Good morning, everybody. Welcome to BCB Live. I'm the only one in the office today. Rick and Dave decided not to come, so I'm the one running the whole show. But we'll have a good little compilation video of some clips from interviews, some good stuff. It'll be entertaining. Doing the best we can with what we got. And so here's the intro. If it'll work, or not. But anyway, so it's looking like it's gonna be Dale coming on later today for the weather and the safety, so that'll be really good. And he's going to talk to a lot of the heat that we're having. It's a lot of, as y'all probably know, it's pretty hot out there. But here's the
I'm Elizabeth Barna. I'm Executive Vice President at ATA for Industry Affairs and Senior Advisor to our CEO. I've been at ATA a long time, almost 30 years in the trucking industry, and most of what I do a lot of different things. I wear a lot of different hats, but for your purposes for the program is I do a lot of our image and outreach, education, advocacy. So run a lot of our programs. We've got 3 show trucks that we take around the country with drivers, professional truck drivers that are America's Road Team captains, and work on trying to recruit others into the industry, whether it's drivers or young professionals or folks coming right out of supply chain and logistics.
Hey, so Elizabeth, when it comes to that younger group, and I like what you all are doing there, because you're not waiting until they're 23 and 24 and then talking trucking to them. You're going to them at that younger age where they can hop in, maybe look at that truck, sit in the truck to kind of feel what it's like, right?
We do. We like, folks sort of criticize us sometimes about why we're going to elementary schools even. And part of why we're doing that is that's where a lot of your habits are formed and your impressions are formed. And so if you can take a tractor trailer to an elementary school and those kids can get up in it, meet a truck driver, by the time that they are driving age, they're not intimidated by trucks. They understand that the truck driver is a professional, a nice person, is going to be out there to help them. And it may even be something that they want to do for their career. I mean, they take fire trucks and ambulances and other things to school. So why not take a professional truck driver and his vehicle?
When you go to some of these places, I understand that you also take a simulator, right? Sometimes you go with a simulator.
We do. One of our trucks, Interstate One, we call it, it does have a truck driving simulator in it, and it's one that they use at truck driving schools and at companies. So L3C Harris donated that to us, and so it's very sturdy, and it's great. I mean, I love to see the kids on it. I love to see adults on it. But the media is also pretty cool to get them up in it, see what it's like. And as you guys mentioned, this is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. We've had media come in, try to drive and try to text at the same time to show folks what it's like texting and driving on a simulator, but in real life.
Yeah, I'm sure that takes up. We're actually hoping that y'all might swing through here, Mansfield, with that simulator and allow us to ride in it for a little bit, because we sure would love to do it. But you probably get a lot of great. Do what now?
We'd be happy to.
All right, I like it. Do you get a lot of positive feedback from all the people that jump up in there and do that kind of stuff?
We do. We get so much positive feedback. Even if they just go away with one tip, whether it's there's a blind spot or distracted driving or be careful for work zone safety, just take one away. That's maybe one life you're saving. We did last week about 1,500 students at 2 different high schools here in the Northern Virginia area. And I mean, I went out there and I was shocked at how much they paid attention. Recess was going on across the way. They wanted to talk to the drivers. They wanted to get up in that truck. They also wanted to see the length of the trailer and see what was in the back of the trailer. So I think there's a lot of interest if you've got the right people educating them and keeping their interests.
Good morning, guys. It's great to be here. Thanks so much for having me on.
You bet, you bet. We're excited. So here it is. We're talking about the app. And yes, I downloaded it this morning and I did look over it this morning. What a cool app this thing is. It's got everything that you need. And it is and who is it directed toward?
Yeah, definitely. So we were built for the owner, operator, and small carrier. We were founded back in actually 2009. So we've been around basically since the introduction of the smartphone. Our founders, Prasad and Murali, realized that there was a real need out there for an owner operator free app for carriers, and have been around since then. Started with a couple of tools and an app and have been growing ever since.
How would you, so Carrie, let's talk about it a minute. If somebody has never heard of Trucker Tools, what's the best way to describe it for them?
Yeah, we are the leading app for life on the road for drivers. So we're focused, as I mentioned, on owner operators and small carriers. We've been downloaded 2 million times by them, and right now we've got about 250,000 carriers on the app. More or less, we allow you to become a digital carrier and run your entire business out of our app, have all the tools you need to figure out where you're going to get your next load, how to track your load for a broker or a shipper, and identify the best route. Actually, Drive Safe Dave, I was listening to the beginning of the show, and we have a routing guide. Our routing tool allows you to avoid those short bridges, so you never even have to worry about being on the lookout for them.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Also having those clearance, knowing where the limitations are of the road. Cool stuff going on this tool. It's pretty neat, the routing and the different things that you've got. We'll go into some of those in a minute.
Hey, before you go there, so here's my big question on this, because you're telling me that an independent contractor today, we know what happens on the road. They get to that stop, they're on the phone, they're stressing over that next load. Does it pay enough money? Where's it going to? What are the shipping hours? You're telling me that maybe they can reduce the 40 or 50 phone calls they're making and use an app to give them and show them the way?
That's exactly it. Yeah. Our app was designed so that instead of worrying about finding that next load while you're driving, instead of worrying about picking up the phone and answering that track and trace call, you can focus on what you're doing, which is driving. And then when you're pulled over between loads, when you're at a stop, whatever, you can quickly find and book that load that you're going to pick up tomorrow or the next day instantly with our Book It Now tool. It happens in real time. You do not need to go back and forth with the broker. So it's all taken care of as soon as you're back behind the wheel and ready to drive again.
Yeah. And one more thing on that, you're carrier based, right? I shouldn't say the carrier. The brokers that are using your, your tools right there. I mean,
Yep.
It's everybody and anybody. I looked at the list there. If you're not on that list, shame on you as a broker, because you have some of the biggest ones on there, a very impressive ones. So for that, again, peace of mind for the independent contractor, what about getting paid? Is there, are you taking away some of that doubt as well?
Yeah, definitely. So first of all, as you mentioned, we've got a massive broker network. We kind of run the gamut from small upstart brokerages to those really big guys that everyone who's listening knows of, several hundred of them on there. So we are an awesome way for those small independent contractors, owner operators, to actually kind of have a chance to get in with the big boys and give themselves a fighting chance to develop long-term relationships with those big brokerages who a lot of folks aspire to work with. So on the getting paid side, we've talked about this before. Safety and security is of utmost importance to what we do. So everything we do in the app is completely 100% secure, and it's completely connected to our brokers' TMSs, so that when you're actually picking up a load, it is all running through their official TMS system, so that you don't have to worry about, does this broker know that I'm actually doing this? It's all taken care of for you. So that there should be no doubt in your mind or in the broker's mind about what's happening. We have document scanning in the app. So as soon as you drop off, you can take a picture of that POD. It uploads in real time to the TMS. So you're going to get paid as soon as possible.
Yeah, so that is so cool how you do that. You relieve the mind. But let's talk about, just for a second, on everybody's hot topic right now is fuel. Everybody's hot topic is how the cost of fuel, how expensive it is. Look, you've got a fuel optimizer on the app. Explain that and what it does and how it can help.
Definitely. So yeah, our fuel optimizer is tied in with our routing optimizer. which helps you find the best route for you as you're driving from point A to point B anywhere across the country. As I mentioned, it builds truck-specific routing, so that allows you to avoid those roads, low-hanging bridges, anything that you want to avoid, and it identifies the cheapest fuel stations along the way. So we've got these massive real-time data, the database on fuel prices that we're plugged into our app, so that we're collecting data every single day, every single hour, every single minute on prices as they're fluctuating, so that as you're preparing to head across the country, you're able to plan that route to take you towards, if we notice that fuel is trending cheaper up on the kind of the northern half of the country versus the southern half of the country, you're able to know that before you go. It might help you change your route, and you're going to know what you're paying before you actually get to the pump. We also crowdsource real-time updates on amenities and other items at these truck stops. So you're able to see, does this stop have showers? Does it accept my fuel card? Am I going to be able to use it when I get there? So that you can factor that in as well to any sort of calculations you're making on which fuel stops you want to stop at.
Sorry.
We are the trucking industry's not-for-profit research organization, and the work that we do on behalf of the industry really covers the landscape. Everything from safety topics to driver issues to regulatory issues to how the industry impacts the environment. We do a lot in traffic congestion and how to improve mobility. So it really is a full suite of research topics that we are continuously working on in fulfillment of ATRI's mission, which is to improve the trucking industry's safety and productivity. And I've been with ATRI just over 29 years, so I've spent most of my adult career with this organization. I've been president of ATRI since 2002. We've got a great team of researchers that are around the country. I'm based in Atlanta, where I have several of our team here with me in Atlanta. We also have staff in Minneapolis, in Sacramento, and New York City. So we're covering the bases around the country to make sure we get all the research done to make our great industry better.
Well, I'll tell you what, of all of those, I think Minneapolis is probably the best with traffic. All the others, I'm not really excited about, New York, Atlanta, or LA, but I will tell you that I am excited that you're here. I've come to learn a lot more about your organization and what it does, and it's very interesting how important your information is that's given to not only the industry itself, but also the lawmakers, right? I mean, you help provide that information to our legislation.
Absolutely. So in fulfillment of our mission, we make our research available to anyone who's interested. You can download any of our studies from our website. But what we have found is that not only does the industry use the research to improve individual fleet operations or whatever the case may be, but yes, particularly when we do an analysis looking at the impact of new regulations, that research makes its way all the way to Congress. We have been very successful in seeing our research at play in positive changes to the hours of service rules. We've seen our research at play when the federal government and state DOTs are looking at where to invest infrastructure dollars to improve those traffic problems out there. So we really are proud of the work we do and how it has been able to move the needle for improving safety and productivity in the industry.
Well, I'll tell you, Rebecca, in response to that, directly when it becomes the hours of service, I don't believe that I've seen a better or more positive change for drivers in the last hours of service rules than I had seen since the new rules began with the split sleepers and the extended service hours. I think those have benefited better than ever, but I look back and I look at my career and I can't remember a time in which all the rules that came out underneath the hours of service regulations actually helped the drivers more in regards to fatigue than those came out. What was it? Last September? Is that right?
Last September, you're right. And it's interesting because when I started in the industry, I actually started with a private truck fleet. And that was back in the days in the 80s when drivers could split at that time it was a 10-hour driving day, and they could go 5 and 5. And we ran team operations, and our drivers would go 5 and 5, one in the sleeper, one driving. And certainly starting back, 2005 was the first time we got the first change to the hours of service rules. And for a while there, I felt like the hours of service rules were the full employment act for ATRI because we were studying every single change that came out. And And you think back to that sort of egregious change where to utilize the 34-hour restart, drivers had to have 2 overnight periods from 1 a.m. to 5 a.m.
Oh, that was a nightmare.
It was a nightmare, and it was really problematic. And we were able to show through data collection from drivers, by looking, doing some analyses with our truck GPS data, just how really problematic that was for drivers. And you know, drivers reporting that they were more fatigued because of those rules, not less fatigued. And those are rules that are designed to provide drivers an opportunity to rest. And so really problematic. But you're right, with the latest changes that have come out, I think we are really in a good place with the hours of service rules.
All right, everybody, and welcome back to BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Drive Safe Dave here, bringing to you a very important guest today. It is Liz Williamson. Liz, how are you doing this morning? I know it's a little early where you are. Welcome to the show.
Having me, Dave.
Are you doing okay today? Are you able? Did you get any coffee yet this morning before you came on?
You know, more important than me having coffee was I got my husband some.
Wow. I like that. I like the way that sounds. My wife did make me coffee as well this morning, so I want to applaud you for that and say thank you. Thank you for getting the coffee to the guy that probably wouldn't do it if you didn't do it. I'm just telling you.
You know, honestly, it just makes it better. If I have to be up early, so does he.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, so you roused him a little bit because of the show today. Is that what's going on?
I did. Hey, my husband fights human trafficking. It just might be, you know, from home.
That's great. All right, Liz, I'm excited. So tell us who you are and what it is that you do, because we want to get your message out today. So tell everybody, introduce yourself a little bit. I'm excited.
Great. So my name is Liz Williamson. I work for a nonprofit called Truckers Against Trafficking. Truckers Against Trafficking is a nonprofit that's been around for about 11 years, and we focus on how do we train about human trafficking in the trucking, bus, and energy industries. How do we show people what to look for? But what I'm also really excited to tell you about is that I'm a survivor of human trafficking, and so they have me on staff to say, hey, not only is this important to know about, but I lived it and I survived it.
Is there any way you could tell us a little bit about your story, and how you got involved in this, so that we can kind of get the big picture?
You got it. So I was actually trafficked by my mom when I was 6 years old. And I don't like saying that because it makes all of us, you know, our gut hurts and our heart falls to the floor. But no one knew what to look for and how to help me as a child. And so now as an adult, I'm really happy to be the person that I had always wished had been around me as a child.
Right. Wow. That's amazing. All right. So tell us how you go about within your organization. How do you go about teaching about trafficking? Because first tell us really what it is, right? Because I think we talk about trafficking. I think it's important to understand exactly what it is.
You got it. So it's the exploitation of an individual through force, fraud, or coercion for the purposes of commercial sex. So you're thinking prostitution, stripping, pornography, or forced labor. You're thinking working in agricultural fields, nail salons, industries where you can work for little or no pay for long periods of time. And all of this happens because a third party is making a profit, and normally we call that third party a trafficker or a pimp.
Wow. We're basically slavery. I mean, that's to me.
It is modern day slavery. Yes,
wow.
It is.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about, and that's horrible. All right, so tell us how do we as a group of people better understand trafficking and what to look for?
So there are common red flag warnings and signs that you could potentially look for. All of our materials are free on our website. So we have wallet cards that if someone wanted to have on their person to remind them, but we also have an app that you can have on your phone that has our documentary that you can watch. It's about 30 minutes. But you are looking for someone who has signs of abuse or neglect. Maybe they're not dressed appropriately for the weather outside. They could be dressed very scantily, and you're just thinking, man, that doesn't look comfortable for the weather we're having. You could see signs of bruises, scars. They could have tattoos that have someone's name or like a money sign. I know that there's been a lot of talk about barcode signs, but it's really that tattoo that they could have on their chest or their forearm area is a sign of ownership from their trafficker. You could have a young woman who's in a relationship with a much older man, but women also traffic too. So it's someone who's looking to exploit somebody else's vulnerabilities.
And how important it is that we pay attention and notice these things out there, because, you know, truckers are out all over the place, all over the country, and they have an opportunity to be in these, I call them, to me, a truck stop is a community center, because you're in there to get the things that you need, and they come together as a community in these truck stops. How important it is that these truck drivers pay attention to what's going on around them?
I think it's incredibly important because the trafficker is hoping that you're just going to look at the person being trafficked as just another prostitute, as if that person being trafficked is the problem, not the fact that they're being bought and sold. So first we have to check our own bias, and are we thinking that the person who is going door to door from truck to truck or soliciting on a street corner, are we saying that they are the problem? Or are we willing to say, why is someone willing to buy sex in the first place?
I like to think that way, because I think that really needs to be understood, is that we're really looking at the victim, right? Right. It's generally not by choice that they're being trafficked, right? They're either there by force, by coercion, or what have you, or even by threat of violence, not only of themselves, but even of their family, right? It can be any number of reasons. And how important is it that we do something? I mean, I'm not saying jump in the middle of it or what have you, but how important is that we do something when we see something wrong?
You know, to me, I think that my story could have stopped much sooner if someone had just made a phone call and said, hey, I see this and I don't think it's right. And then you let the cops do their job.
Right. I mean, and let them get involved. And you know what? It's okay to be wrong, right?
Absolutely.
If you see something and you're worried about, well, I'm not sure I'm right or I'm not sure I'm wrong, the worst case scenario is that we've made a mistake, right? That no, there isn't an issue, right? That there isn't someone to be saved that's drowning, right? That we got in the water and got a little wet, but we didn't have to worry about it, right? I think I'm trying to get a good analogy here to understand that what we're talking about here is a person that's worth saving, right? I mean, we've got to understand they're absolutely worth saving. And if you have to wade off into the water just a little bit to find out if they need saving, then we need to do that, right? That's what we're talking about here.
It's absolutely what you're talking about. And you know what? Hey, Dave, I want to make sure when this call ends that you give me your address so I can send you a bumper sticker to put on one of your trucks.
Absolutely. I don't want you to just send me one. I would like you to send me several. I think the message is important, and I don't think we just need to tell it by one at a time. I think we can tell it by multiple at a time. If you had to say to a driver, what is some of the, I know you talked about scantily clad, but generally, are these people looking for help and they just don't know how to go about doing it? Are they looking at you? Can you kind of give me an idea of the
Sure.
victim, or the way the victim's thinking? Because we're talking about people, and we're talking about people helping people. And sometimes we think that if you don't ask, you don't need help, right?
Well, they could be told that you and I think that they are terrible human beings and that they are invisible. I know that when I was being trafficked, I really did believe the lie that no one cared about me and that I was invisible and that they just looked at me as like I was the problem. I wish somebody had just been kind to me and offered me, if you're walking into the convenience store, hey, do you need a water? Do you need to just be treated like a human being who's worth looking at and that they're not invisible? I think human kindness is something that we have sometimes gone far away from in our society. We may not be able to ask for help with our words, But once you engaged me in a conversation and you said, hey, do you really want to be out here? And you don't ask that from a place of judgment, just curiosity, chances are my answer is going to be no. But I don't know how to see anything else for my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Definitely trying to make sure that we understand that the victims, that they are victims, right? And that we have a responsibility to do something about it.
Hi, this is Drive Safe Dave here. If you like what you see and you want to see more, click on the link in the comment below and it'll take you directly to our YouTube channel so you can see the rest of the show.
All right, Dale, you ready to give some weather?
Hey, good morning, Boyd. Yeah, I'll see if I can pull up the weather, and we'll talk a little bit about weather, and we will then go.
Let's see. Sharing a screen, guys. Maybe not. Let's see. Right, we're having some technical difficulties here. Let's see. There we go. Awesome.
There we go. Hey, so let's talk, a little bit of weather. Today, we will see a little bit of winds pick up this afternoon, a little bit later going on. Kick that up. And most of the time, the winds we're going to see today into the night are going to be associated with some strong thunderstorms in the areas. But, currently we're looking at some pretty strong winds out in the panhandle of Texas, north panhandle of Texas, a little bit into the Oklahoma area. As we kick that into motion, there you go. By 10 o'clock, you really see that the winds in the Lubbock area have picked up, gusts up to 40 miles an hour. So if you're out in the Lubbock area today, you need to be aware that the winds are definitely going to pick up. And then eastern New Mexico, winds start to pick up a little bit mid-morning. And as we go through the day, they kind of shift around a little bit. But by this afternoon, we look there in West Texas on the I-10 around going out through Odessa, very strong winds out in that area. So just be aware of it. Other area that we're going to see some winds today is going to be up in the Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana area, and then a little bit down in the Carolinas. We move that ahead a little bit. By evening, they all lay down. So the winds really pretty limited in scope in the area that they're going to be, but they will get pretty strong in the panhandle in West Texas this afternoon. If we look at those rain and thunderstorms and currently what we have going on should be a pretty strong one going on right up there in Oklahoma. Very, very strong thunderstorm going on up in northern Oklahoma. Definitely catching Oklahoma City. Some very brilliant colors with that. So possibility of tornadoes with those. Very strong winds, heavy rains, maybe some flash flooding. So if you're in that Oklahoma area running across that I-40, be aware of that's going on. And then also up through central Missouri, up hooking back into southeastern Iowa, got some current storms going on. A little bit in Alabama as we go into the afternoon. The storms start to shift a little bit. The rain and everything starts to shift a little bit to the east. And by this afternoon, pretty strong thunderstorm line to thunderstorms from central Missouri all the way up into the Chicago area, with just south of Chicago picking up, some pretty strong rains. Strong winds will be associated with that. A little bit later on the day, you can see as we move this forward to 9 o'clock, how it's shifted out to the east, and definitely through, the Kentucky area, northern Alabama, the coastal areas, definitely got some rain and issues going on with that. Other big topic is temperatures, because it is going to be hot. Right now, we kicked that up to 2 o'clock this afternoon. There are a lot of places down along the Gulf Coast. We're going to be high 80s, low 90s. And then most of the middle United States is going to be in the 70s. We get a little bit later into the day, and you can see how that heat stroke all along the southern states. Really going to be warm for the next couple days. We go back to tomorrow. You can see that red and the oranges, high 90s again, very, very hot temperatures. So you want to stay hydrated with that. So, with that, that's what we have going on for the weather right now. And I'm going to see if I can't pull, this week's safety topic is we're talking about National Safety Awareness Month is what's going on right now. National Safety Month. And we've been talking, first day Monday, they talked about the equipment, how to do good things because that's safety, that's part of being safe. Seat belts and PPE was yesterday's topic. And today's topic is going to be road signs and warning signs. They're out there. We're talking about Safety Month. All those road signs, warning signs are there for your benefit to help warn you, to help keep you safe out there. But they only work if we obey them, and so just be aware of all the different signs out there, what they mean, and obey them. I mean, we're not just talking road signs. Let's talk about, signs going onto doors. When you go into a door and if there's a chemical sign or, hazmat or stuff like that. So just have to be aware of those signs, know what they mean, and obey and heed them, okay? Hey, Boyd, you got some videos for us to take a look at?
I do. First video we got is following too close.
That's probably going to be the theme of the day. And you look right here, we're probably less than 0.6 of a second. Excuse me. We really have nowhere out here. We got a Jersey barrier. We got cars to the right. We got car in front of us. Just have to increase that space. Just need to back off because we're really gaining no time whatsoever here and just putting us and a lot of other people around us in a dangerous situation.
Next video we got is gotta back off.
And again, here we go. It's nighttime, so we have to adjust our speed down a little bit for night because we can't see. And when we're following this close, we have no idea what's really going on ahead of this truck or the other truck in the other lane when we get this close. And again, by getting this close, we're not making them going any faster. We're not, gaining any time. And so just back off. Let them get away. They'll get past as soon as they can, and then you can make your move. But until then, we just need to back off. This is well under a second here.
Next video we got is whoa, back off.
And again, we go from one situation to another. We're definitely under a half second here, and we go over there, pass. This vehicle, the passing lane is pulling away, so, eventually it clears up. But, just have to keep away from this vehicle. Just have to back off, increase our space, own that space in front of us because, eventually that other lane is going to clear out and we'll be able to make that safe lane change and make that pass without doing any tailgating.
Now we got warning sign, slow traffic ahead.
Like I said, it's we were talking about signs today, and so here's your sign. It says slow traffic ahead. So if we know there's slow traffic ahead or a possibility of it, we definitely need to be backing off. Create our space early because we're being warned that something may be happening ahead. We've got that extra notice that something may go on ahead of us, and we need to create that space. We need to back off. And so if something is, traffic is stopped or slow traffic ahead and they have to slow or stop in a hurry, that then we can do it. So, there's a warning sign for you, and we just need to, follow it and increase that space.
This next video is titled "The Reverse Starts at 1 down to 0.7."
I think this is the one we started out pretty good and then closed the space up and then got a little bit away from it. Just back that off. We're just way too close here, and we just keep getting closer. By the end of the video, we're actually closer. This truck is actually closer than when the video started, and that's not the right thing to be doing. The goal here is to increase that space, back off. If you can make that lane change and make that lane change safe and get out of that tailgating situation, give yourself some space.
And last video we got is merge point with some nice patience.
There is so much going on in here. Look at all the traffic and the wall and a merge point and everything else, stop and go traffic. And this driver just does a really good job of paying attention, big picture, what's going on around him. And just kind of backs off, yields a little bit and creates some space before he gets out there to do that merge. So, like I said, a harsh brake, all harsh brakes aren't bad. Traffic can stop and go. There's plenty of space. We just need to create a little more. And so good job on this one, driver. Like I said, it's good to see different views and take a look at this and see everything, all the choices that a driver has to make every day, every mile, and the fact that we have so many of them out there doing it right all the time.
Well, that's all the videos we got, Dale. Thank you.
All right, boys, that sounds great. Anything else exciting going on there?
Not really. It's pretty empty this early, so there's not very much going on, but it's gonna be a good day. It'll be interesting to see how it goes. I'm excited. See how we
All
work it
right.
out, but
Well, thank you, Boyd. I'll jump off now.
of course, thank you. Next, we're going to go into a quick advertisement by our sponsor, Utility ProWare. Highly recommend it. They are actually running some sales and some deals on their website right now for some really cool stuff. So definitely go check it out. And if you use code BCB20, you get 20% off on your order. So on top of that sale, that'd be even better. Here's the advertisement. If it'll cut. It may not be working. Some of this stuff is not working.
This segment has been brought to you.
Never mind. I guess the advertisement's not going to load. But before we're done for the day, we have one quick news compilation video just to kind of give y'all a few little things going on around the world. And it's some pretty interesting out of kind of stuff you wouldn't expect. But here you go. Oh, gotta turn my mic on. Thank y'all for tuning in. And I'm gonna close this out with a prayer. Dear God, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for allowing us to be here. Thank you for our health, God. Thank you for allowing us to live in a nation where granted freedoms and the ability to watch a live stream like this and such. God, I pray that we're all able to continue to be safe and all able to continue to do our best to keep others safe around us on the road, God. I pray that we're able to tune out the distractions in our life, tune out the distractions when we're in a vehicle, so we're able to, have our mind and our eyes focused on what needs to be focused on, God. And I pray that that is something that we can continue to strive towards every day. I pray that we're able to continue to use you and that you're able to use us as a speaking point to continue to spread the word, God, and that we're able to continue to grow your kingdom, Lord. I pray that, again, we're all able to continue to stay safe and keep everyone else safe around us. In Christ's name we pray, amen. Thank y'all for tuning in today. We will see y'all tomorrow. And this has been BCB Live.